All right, it's time for another booktube. It's number, I don't know what it is, 6 or 7. Christine, which one is it?
I don't know.
Okay, she doesn't know, but we're doing another one. And it's about my favorite books on Algonquin Provincial Park in Ontario, Canada. Now, it's St. Paddy's Day, so cheers to everybody. Now, I don't have any whiskey here. It's not whiskey time, so cheers anyway. And I got a bit of green, a nice hat. I was going to wear this hat. This nice hat here. And Christine made a good, logical point. She goes, Kevin, first of all, you look silly. Second, you'll date the video. I mean, if someone was watching this in August, they'd be wondering why I'm wearing a hat like that. So this has nothing to do with Algonquin. You're right. I will take it off and put my Guinness hat on. Okay? Right. Man, I got tons of books. I got more Algonquin books, but I just had to stop collecting them because it's getting the end of the day here. Okay, I'm going to start from history books, and I'm going to go to nature studies, going into just good books to read, especially if you're an angler, guidebooks, and coffee table books, and also really good reads. Okay, here we go. First book, 1961. It's a little pamphlet I have. I got this. Someone mailed this to me, actually. I forget who it was. And it's from the Ontario Department of Lands and Forests, and just talks about Algonquin in 1961. And why not? It even has old maps in here and everything. And all the canoe routes and stuff. Never seen that before in my life, actually. So there, that's one. Number 2, Blue Lake and Rocky Shore, History of Children's Camping in Ontario. And what was the date of this? What was the date of this? What was the date of this? 1980 something. 1980. Oh, when was it? See, I'm not prepared, Christine. Well, copyright 1984. Okay, so I've had this book for a long time. So it's all about the history of camps and a lot of the history of the camps in Algonquin. So I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but it's a really good book to have if you want to know about some of the old history of camps. All right. Algonquin Story, 3rd edition. Audrey Saunders Miller. And good book about the history of Algonquin. I think the Friends of Algonquin put this together. Yeah, it was Friends of Algonquin. They have some great books. And it's a good read. I turned to this quite a bit. She goes over all the history of Algonquin, the Algonquin story. And yeah, it's a good read. All right. Really good read. Just outside of Algonquin, Bonnechere River goes through Algonquin. It was an old canoe route. Don't do that route, by the way. I've tried it twice, and no, you're walking the whole thing. In fact, they've taken it off the map. It doesn't even exist anymore. But the history of the Bonnechere River is incredible. And yeah, this is a great book. One of my favorite, actually. And yeah, all right. Just a quick view of dates and events. Really quick view of dates and events of Algonquin. Really thin book, but just to reference things. I like this one. There's another book booklet I had. Names of Algonquin. Where did I put that? Anyway, Names of Algonquin is a pamphlet you can get from Friends of Algonquin. This one I use a lot. Glimpses of Algonquin, the same thing. History of Algonquin. It's got some great pictures in here. Great maps of the old fur chain routes, not fur chain routes, ranger routes, sorry. And some of the camps. Really good stories. One of my favorites, this one here. You can see that. Yeah. Good book. Old book, though. Newer book. Not new, but new. Oh, yeah, who was the author of that? Well, the Friends of Algonquin. There's got to be an author for that. Oh, it's just people adding it. It's compiled by C.D. Garland. Sorry about that, Garland. But it's everybody's story in here that he or she compiled. I don't know who G.D. Garland. Do you know who G.D. Garland is?
No.
No? Okay. She compiled stories on Algonquin. This one, Mary Garland. Well, Mary Garland, wait a minute. Whoa. The bookshelf almost came down on me. That's the luck of the Irish. I wonder if this is related to this one. Anyway, last name Garland, Mary Garland. It's the history of the Mowat Lodge. Mysterious, haunted, ghost motel. It used to be, I think, 2 lumber mills, and they made it into a lodge. And then the history of it. So, kind of cool. It has everything in here about the lodge, by the way. Everything, even the gravestones and stuff like that. Wow, okay, good book. This one is about the Cache Lake Station, about the railway going from Ottawa through Algonquin, and solid book, absolutely solid book. It's by Donald, oh boy, Purpur? Can you see that from here? I don't know this person. I should know this person. Donald J. Borbray. Can you come over and have a look at that? We got to give the guy credit.
Oh, Beaupre. Donald J. Beaupre.
Oh, okay. That's great. Roy McGregor recommended this book to me. Roy McGregor, the Kenny author. Amazing. The last two, these are my favorite history books that I always look at for Algonquin Park. This one here, Rustic Huts by S.R. Gage, and all the cabins in the park. There's a chapter in each. So the one on Nipissing, the one on McCaskill, things like that. If you want to know the history of where they came from, or where they came from. Of course they came from. Where do the cabins come from, Chrissy? Anyway, this is an amazing book. I don't think a lot of people know about this one, but one of my favorite. It is in black and white, which is fine. Yeah, a lot of history about the cabins and the fire towers behind the cabins. Classic book. Best one of the history, I think, Roderick McKay. It's this book here, A History of Algonquin Provincial Park. It's relatively new, not new, but I think it's 2018 it came out. Friends of Algonquin put this out. But this has everything in it, everything. Oh, you're looking at the book, you want to read it, don't you?
Yeah.
See what happens when I do these book clubs, and all of a sudden, book tubes, whatever. Also, my books disappear, and they're upstairs at your reading area.
Set that one over on the other side.
Oh, Lord. All right. Here are books, just good books to read about Algonquin. Roy McGregor, A Life in the Bush. You have to read this book, and if you read it before, read it again. I've read this thing, I think, at least 6 or 8 times. It's about the life of his dad and him growing up in Algonquin. His dad was a ranger and worked in forestry. Solid read. Really good writer. Great person as well. Do you want to put it over here too? Have you read that?
I've read that one actually.
Okay. Have you read it more than once?
No.
Hold on.
I'll read it again.
I have 3 copies of it.
Great, I can keep one then.
Okay. Esther Kaiser, Paddling My Own Canoe. It's about the life of Algonquin's first female guide, and written by her in her older days, and has some color photos, but also black and white photos, and just a really good read about her and about Algonquin and what she feels about Algonquin. Another one, you need to read this. The Last Guide. A story of fish and love. Ron Corbett, writer from Ottawa. He's written 2 books on this guide. This is the first one. I could not find the second one, and I think Mr. Baxter borrowed it, my buddy. So there's a great film on him. He just passed away, and it's all about his life. Incredible story, incredible person that wrote it, to be quite honest. Really good writer, and yeah, I've read this book. Have you read this book?
No.
Over there it goes then. Okay, I gotta say her name. I know this person. Arja Spellman. Backcountry Brushes. So she's an artist, and she did some work, some artwork of one of her trips, and a diary or journal of that. And really unique book, to be quite honest, because her sketches are amazing, actually. Amazing. Kind of reads like poetry, to be quite honest. So yeah, lovely book. Have you read this? This pile's getting bigger. Now, 2 books that actually talk about the natural history of the park. There's lots of them, but yeah, these are my favorite 2. I think I chose these because a lot of people don't have them. Remember when you used to go to the park? Well, you still go to the park and get those little pamphlets that was written by the naturalists there, and Dan Strickland was behind that. Still is, I think. And this is a collection of them. Best of the Raven. Dan Strickland put this together, and so did the Friends of Algonquin Park. So all those little pamphlets, all that little bit of history, natural history about the park, is all in this one book. Highly recommend that. Algonquin Park, The Human Impact. I have to get the authors correct for this one. David Euler and Mike Wilton. This is actually about all human activity that's altering the ecosystem of Algonquin. Trout populations, forestry, water management, the spiny flea? No, what's that thing called? Invasive species. It's in here, huge book. And yeah. Now, just classic books that you need to read if you go to Algonquin Park. This one here is, it's based on James Dixon's book, Camping in the Muskoka region, which I have and I just can't find it as well. Mr. Baxter, again, probably bored that one. But it's about his journeys throughout the park. Well, it wasn't a park when he went there. It was 1879 to 1885. And this is an 1886 new edition. So he wrote the book in 1886. And now the new edition is actually Algonquin Adventure, the 19th century Algonquin Adventure. Okay, so James Dixon. And it's cool. He's in a birch bark canoe. He's with a bunch of surveyors, explorers. And he's talking about the park as if it's not a park yet. And you got to read that, especially if you're doing some research on the park and the roots, the history of the roots. Okay, must read. The Incomplete Angler. It was written in 1943, I think, and it was John Robbins wrote this. There's a lot of editions. This is the first edition. It's signed. Oh, look at that. And it's just about these two guys going on a fishing trip. They actually start at, oh gosh, what's that lake where the railway came out from? Oh, Radiant. They started from Radiant and then went up the Crow into Lavier, Dixon, and out to Opiongo, and that's their. Oh, it's a train. That's about their trip. I have redone their route many times and followed the route reading this book and fished for trout. Same place they fish for trout and caught trout. So yeah, this is a must read. And yes, we live near a train track. Okay, right, wilderness. I can hear wilderness, Christine. This one here, Ralph Bice, I think 1983, 1984, this came out. 80s, 1980s. So Ralph Bice was a trapper, and he wrote a weekly column for the local newspaper, and he just put all these stories together of his life growing up in Algonquin, trapping, fishing. And if you're an angler, you can get some secret spots from reading this book. Where he caught fish, you can still catch fish. Hint, hint. All right, we're getting there. Guidebooks. Again, from not fantastic, but good to have, and then best ones. So, Joanna Cates, she was a writer as well for local, like the Globe Mail, I think, and then she also worked at one of the kids' camps. So this is just canoe routes. I think it was back in the 70s she wrote this. What is it? 1983, and this is how I started getting information from all the old books and also this book about where to go canoeing back in the day. Joanne Case. Michael Runts has this book out. It's being redone a lot more. This is an older version of it when Boss Mills was around. Michael Runts is an incredible naturalist. Very what's it called? It's called when someone's really smart about things.
Extra smart.
Extra smart about the natural world in Algonquin. Michael, you're a good guy too. I've known you for a long time. This one is interesting. Donald Lloyd. So I think I told this story before, I showed this book before, but I'll tell the story again. So this shows a whole bunch of routes in Algonquin, the history of some of the lakes, and also natural history along the sidebars. And I gave this a bad review when it came out because he actually shows specific trout spots along rivers and lakes, like especially rapids. He says good trout fishing here. Yeah, man, I was told never to do that, so I did give him a bad review when this book came out. However, I read it a lot. So anyway, now you might know this guy. Okay, that's my first book, a guidebook on Algonquin. It's not a review of these. I just wanted to show you the history of it. So this is brook trout and blackflies. And that was my first book on Algonquin. I call it brook trout and blackflies because that's how I characterize Algonquin. Now, that publisher was bought it by another publisher, and I was on a very long 1-month canoe trip, so I didn't know what was going on. That's before the days of satellite phones and stuff like that. And so they had to change the name because a thing called Google came out, and Blackflies wouldn't do a search, or you wouldn't find it by doing a Google search for Algonquin. So now it's just a paddler's guide to Algonquin without Brookshot and Blackflies. I prefer Brookshot and Blackflies. It's into its 5th edition as well. So guidebooks, and I wrote this book too, Once Around Algonquin by the Meanest Link. Don't ever do this trip, but it's a good read about the history of Algonquin and the future of Algonquin. All right, blah 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 blah. I got 3 more left. Books that cost a lot of money, but are good to have. Jim and Sue Waddington, they did this incredible book on the Group of 7. So they actually went to where the Group of 7 painted and took photos of it and stories about their adventures there. And of course, Algonquin is included because of Tom Thompson and things like that. Okay, and really good book, worth the money. Ontario's old growth forests, and Michael Henry and Peter Quinby, good guys. This is all about the old growth forests all across the province, but it also includes Algonquin. I'm getting burnt out. See that? I have way too many books. I'm going blah blah blah. Right. Good book, full of color photographs and maps of where these trees are, and also the trails to go and check them out. Last one, I think you can only get this book from Pathfinder, but this is about the history of the kids' camp in Algonquin Pathfinder. And it's all put together by Pathfinder, and compiled and edited by Mac Rand. Okay, incredible book. Talks about the history of the park and also of the camp itself, and incredible camp as well. Visit there many times. They do the Meanest Link every year. They've been doing it for years and years and years. That's it. That's all that books. Algonquin Park is an amazing place. I like it because it's my familiar place. I've been going ever since I was a kid. Love the history, love the future, love the natural beauty of it, and love trout fishing. Not black flies, but I do like trout fishing. And how this came about today is the last 3 days, Christine. This is my time of year.
3 days.
3 days, yes. I get all my maps out, look at old videos, and try to find out where we're going to go canoe tripping. My buddies and I, we always go in May. And I drive Christine crazy because I just invest so much time and energy trying to find a place, and then at the last minute probably change where I'm going. But right now, probably Merchant and Happy Isle, and then do some side lakes from there. And I was looking at Greenleaf as well, maybe Ralph Bice, and maybe even the Tim River, the Upper Tim River. I'm not sure. See what happens. I haven't decided yet. And I got to book it, so I got to make a decision. Right. That's it. Books of Algonquin Park in Ontario, Canada. Cut. St. Paddy's Day. I can't say. I'm Irish. I can't even do an Irish accent. Do you do an Irish accent?
No, I definitely cannot.
No, I definitely cannot. Oh, I definitely cannot. Oh, a leprechaun.